this particular alley has been consistently a toilet for everyone. Whoever does not have toilets elsewhere, they use this as the public restroom. I have cleaned it up. I have taken push carts out of here. I have pushed away property that belongs to whoever the homeless or whoever is in here living. There has been wood crates and cardboard and other little make-do housing and bedding and mattresses and boxes where they have found themselves sleeping. And if you don't find sleeping people or their debris, you find the toilet paper and the dugout holes for their waste. Thirdly, you have a drug-using public that uses this alley as its place. Some of the kids use this as a walkthrough from school when they come from the high school and the junior high, or the park, and they use this as a pass-through. And because it's the alley, the way it's set up and poorly maintained, they use it as a smoking, and you find the paraphernalia of drugs here with the glass pipes, etc. So that leads us to the fire hazard that this then becomes with the smoking. There's always weeds. I have cut this down with a weed whacker and had a handyman help me with trying to get this cleared up, but I only go so far. I put mulch to try to keep the weeds down, and bringing C on the post of this fence is that people come down here with their cars and trucks and try to force themselves through here and drive through this alley, even though it's not a street, come through and hit both the wall and this pole and have wrecked it, as you can see, and then they're stuck. But they wreck their cars, scratch them up, dent them, but they get through and they work themselves over to the divider that is at the end of the cul-de-sac. This is another site in southwest Chula Vista, which is another one of the many alleys, and you can see behind me, this is an average. This is not an overabundance. This is a normal, average, low quantity of debris, junk, leftovers, and just stuff tossed. Not to mention the push carts. Push carts are everywhere. And we're quite a distance from some of these stores. There are Sears, JCPenney, Smart & Final, Walmart, Costco, you name it. We've got the carts out here. And the dogs and the free-roaming dogs and free-roaming cats that are breeding out here and having litters and living in and amongst all of this. It's just unsightly and uncalled for and unacceptable. This is another alley that we have a distance perspective where you can see the poles that are some falling over, the extreme amount of wires that are hanging from it, and the looping and just trespass across properties. And it seems dangerous with just the visual look of all of these wires and the abundance of wires for the amount of housing. There's not that many houses to have this many wires. Are they truly all connected to a house? The dust, the weeds. Now, occasionally, because I've called to complain, the city will send out the juvenile delinquent program of graffiti people, and I guess the juvenile delinquent behavior modification, that they come out and do the de-weeding, and they'll have a security person with them and police persons and the equipment where they'll start de-weeding. But this is not on a consistent basis. You have to call and complain in order to get this to happen. It's not on a once a year or twice a year program that should be an automatic program. And as you can see with weeds, and this is low weeds. This is pretty low and maintained weeds. You got trash constantly, where everybody throws their trash, debris. That's what I told you, Teresa, that there's wires that just go nowhere.
Yeah, that one's just blowing in the wind. Look at that.
and there's quite a few of them all around that are connected to the. Also, as you can see in some of these alleys, a lot of people try to maintain, and they're doing their best trying to maintain the weed control in their garden from the back end of their property and part of the outside around their fence, and then they build fences that are nicely built and maintained, and then you have such vandalism because the alleys are poorly managed and are known to be just that, alleys for free-for-all. And you've got whoever it is, whether it's adults or kids, whoever they are, doing the graffiti and defacing and marking and breaking down people's property. All these new fences all have graffiti on them. The people have to paint them again and again, and that's so unfair that people are trying to clean up and maintain their property and do their best. And you have the vandals who feel that they can freely do whatever they please in the alleys because they've been used to it after 25 years of free reign.
Do the police patrol the alleys at all?
No. The neighbors and the people, the residents, as they complain about the trucks that come through here, and the 16-wheelers and those type of trucks that come through the alley or will park in the alley and sleep in the alley overnight and then leave, or if somebody comes by, then they'll leave. But these are the trucks that are coming through here, and these lines are so low and sloping that you wonder, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Are they the ones that are breaking some of these lines and some of these fences that get destroyed? Because the residents complain about the dust, lack of being able to keep their houses clean. There's always a dust pile of just, if they're sitting outside with the cars and trucks going through here at 50 miles an hour, just speeding down the alley because they know that nobody uses them as a road. So they use it as a speed crazed place. We are not happy, with some of these poles that are leaning over and have these wires kind of semi-hanging and not connected and loose, and with the amount of, and I'm not making it up, trucks that come through here that are of all sizes that just use the alleys for their own shortcuts or purposes or whatever, and they catch something and they just keep going. This is how that first alley that I showed you is normally, that I've cleaned up and taken to the dump, sofas and furniture and stuff that they throw behind it, between the trailer park and that block wall and that whole fenced off area where the kids use as a shortcut to come home from school. It normally looks worse than this, and the furniture is tough to get out of there. But this is an example. And this is right off of the main street. And you've got poles that are leaning over and falling, and the excess wires and loose wires or sloping and trespassing wires, plus the debris, and the debris and garbage that is just constant, and the animals that live among it, that people dispose of. And you got some people that put out dishes that feel bad for the animals, and they put out dishes to keep them fed. So then you got litter over litter over litter, and this is walking distance to the pound or to the cat and dog shelter.
The alley between Anita and Carver.